Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis are two of the most infamous Sith Lords in Star Wars lore, their machinations pivotal in shaping the galaxy. Central to one of the most debated topics in the saga is whether these two Sith were responsible for the creation of Anakin Skywalker. Anakin's origins have long been a subject of intrigue, given the unique circumstances of his birth and the immense potential he possessed in the Force. To unravel this question, one must explore the cryptic references within Star Wars canon and the intentions of both George Lucas and supplementary materials surrounding the Force, the Sith, and Anakin's mysterious conception. Anakin Skywalker's mother, Shmi Skywalker, revealed in The Phantom Menace that there was no father to Anakin. This striking revelation naturally invites mystical interpretations, as it suggests a divine or supernatural act akin to a virgin birth. In the Star Wars galaxy, the Force is an omnipresent energy field that binds all living things. The Jedi view the Force as a spiritual entity capable of extraordinary miracles. However, the Sith, who seek to dominate the Force for their own ends, have explored its dark mysteries to unlock powers deemed unnatural. Darth Plagueis, who was said to have mastered the ability to manipulate life itself, becomes a prime suspect in the circumstances of Anakin's birth. According to the novel Darth Plagueis by James Luceno, which is part of the Now Legends timeline, Darth Plagueis sought to achieve immortality through his experiments with the midi-chlorians, microscopic lifeforms that allow beings to interact with the Force. He learned to influence these midi-chlorians to create life or preserve it, an ability his apprentice, Darth Sidious, later alluded to during his infamous opera speech to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. Sidious claimed that Plagueis could prevent death, but was ultimately killed by his apprentice. Sidious's tantalizing tale implied that the Sith possessed the knowledge to perform miraculous acts, including the manipulation of midi-chlorians to conceive life. The timing of Anakin's birth and Plagueis's experiments is a crucial factor in the debate. According to Legends lore, Plagueis and Sidious were active in their dark pursuits during the era in which Anakin would have been conceived. If Plagueis manipulated the Force to create life, it is plausible that Anakin was a direct result of these experiments. Yet there is no explicit confirmation within the films or canonical sources that either Plagueis or Sidious deliberately orchestrated Anakin's creation. This lack of definitive evidence has left the door open for interpretation, with fans and scholars dissecting every hint in the text and subtext of the Star Wars saga. Adding complexity to the debate is the philosophical divide between the Jedi and the Sith regarding the nature of the Force. The Jedi believe in balance and harmony, aligning themselves with the light side of the Force. The Sith, on the other hand, embrace the dark side and seek to impose their will on the galaxy. If Anakin were created through Sith manipulation, it would raise significant questions about his role as the Chosen One, a prophesied figure destined to bring balance to the Force. Was his creation part of a grand Sith plan to usurp the natural order, or was it an unforeseen consequence of their tampering with the Force? The canonical Star Wars material, particularly the prequel trilogy, refrains from providing a clear answer. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, has alluded to the possibility that the Force itself may have acted in response to the Sith's growing power. If Plagueis and Sidious attempted to bend the Force to their will, the Force might have created Anakin as a countermeasure to restore balance. This interpretation aligns with the idea that Anakin was conceived without a father because his existence was a direct act of the Force rather than a biological event. However, the dark undertones of Anakin's story suggest that he was deeply influenced by the Sith from an early stage. Sidious, in particular, displayed a keen interest in Anakin, recognizing his potential as a powerful tool for the Sith's domination. It is unclear whether Sidious's fascination was born from an intrinsic knowledge of Anakin's origins or simply his perception of the boy's strength in the Force. If Sidious knew Anakin was a creation of the Sith, his manipulation of the boy from childhood to his fall as Darth Vader would be part of a long-laid plan. The ambiguity surrounding Anakin's origins is further complicated by Lucasfilm's approach to storytelling. While the Star Wars films establish a broad narrative framework, supplementary materials in both the Legends and canon timelines often explore the intricacies of the saga. For example, the comic series Darth Vader: Dark Lord of the Sith hints at Sidious's possible involvement in Anakin's creation, with a scene that visually implies Sith manipulation of Shmi Skywalker's conception. Yet this depiction is open to interpretation and was not intended as a definitive statement. Whether Anakin's creation was a direct act of the Sith or a response from the Force, his journey is defined by duality. As the Chosen One, Anakin was meant to bring balance to the Force, yet his path led him to become Darth Vader, an enforcer of Sith tyranny. This duality reflects the ongoing struggle between light and dark, a core theme in Star Wars. Anakin's existence, therefore, embodies the paradox of the Force itself, a tension between creation and destruction, order and chaos. In summary, the question of whether Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis created Anakin Skywalker remains unresolved, a tantalizing mystery that deepens the mythos of Star Wars. The evidence presented in the films, combined with the expanded universe and creator commentary, suggests multiple interpretations. Some view Anakin's birth as the result of Sith manipulation, while others see it as an autonomous act of the Force to restore balance. Ultimately, Anakin's origins are less significant than the choices he made, as his journey defines his legacy and the fate of the galaxy. Continuing the exploration, the idea that Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis could have created Anakin ties deeply into the concept of Sith hubris. The Sith, defined by their relentless pursuit of power, often overestimate their ability to control the Force. If Plagueis and Sidious indeed attempted to manipulate the Force to create life, it would underscore their arrogance in believing they could dominate a cosmic power that transcends their understanding. This hubris could have backfired, with the Force itself acting against their intentions. By creating Anakin, the Force may have planted the seeds of the Sith's ultimate downfall. This interpretation aligns with the narrative arc of the Star Wars saga, which emphasizes the cyclical nature of power and the consequences of imbalance. The Sith's desire to reshape the galaxy through manipulation and control is repeatedly met with resistance, often in unexpected ways. Anakin, as the Chosen One, embodies this resistance even in his darkest moments. Although he succumbs to the dark side, his redemption and ultimate sacrifice to destroy Emperor Palpatine reaffirm the prophecy of balance, suggesting that his existence serves a greater purpose beyond Sith machinations. From a thematic perspective, the ambiguity surrounding Anakin's origins adds depth to his character and the broader Star Wars mythos. If Anakin were merely a pawn in a Sith experiment, his role as the Chosen One might seem diminished, as it would imply that his destiny was not truly his own. On the other hand, if his conception was an autonomous act of the Force, it emphasizes his significance as a cosmic anomaly and a force of change in the galaxy. This duality is integral to Anakin's story, as he is constantly torn between light and dark, agency and manipulation. The role of Darth Sidious in Anakin's life cannot be overlooked, regardless of the specifics of his creation. Sidious, masterfully played by Ian McDiarmid, is a manipulative genius who orchestrates the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. His interest in Anakin seems almost predatory, as he carefully nurtures the boy's insecurities and ambitions to turn him against the Jedi. If Sidious was aware of Anakin's origins, whether through direct involvement or Sith foresight, it would explain his calculated approach to grooming Anakin for the dark side. An important element of this theory is the opera scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Sidious recounts the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. This scene is pivotal not only for its exposition of Sith philosophy, but also for its subtle implications about Sidious's knowledge of the Force and Anakin's vulnerabilities. By dangling the promise of saving Padme from death, Sidious exploits Anakin's fear of loss. A fear rooted in his traumatic childhood and attachment to his mother. This manipulation hinges on the idea that the Sith possess unparalleled knowledge of life and death, knowledge that Anakin craves to protect those he loves. Yet Sidious's tale of Plagueis is also a veiled admission of his own role in the Sith lineage. If Plagueis had indeed mastered the ability to create life, Sidious, as his apprentice, might have inherited or even expanded upon this knowledge. However, the irony of the Sith is that their power often turns against them. If Anakin was created as part of Plagueis and Sidious's experiments, the Sith inadvertently sowed the seeds of their own destruction. Anakin's redemption and ultimate betrayal of Sidious in Return of the Jedi reinforce this poetic justice. The prequel trilogy, while exploring Anakin's fall, also delves into the larger metaphysical struggle between the Jedi and the Sith. Anakin's unique connection to the Force, evident from his unprecedented midi-chlorian count, marks him as a being of extraordinary potential. Whether this potential was cultivated by the Sith or the Force itself, it positions Anakin as a fulcrum upon which the galaxy's fate hinges. This idea is further complicated by the prophecy of the Chosen One, which is never fully explained but serves as a narrative anchor for Anakin's journey. The prophecy's vagueness allows for multiple interpretations, including the possibility that the Sith misunderstood its implications. If the Sith believed they could control the Chosen One by creating him, they underestimated the will of the Force and Anakin's capacity for redemption. Conversely, if the prophecy referred to a natural occurrence, Anakin's fall and eventual return to the light demonstrate the enduring struggle for balance in the galaxy. This duality reflects the central tension of Star Wars, the interplay between free will and destiny. From a meta-narrative standpoint, George Lucas intentionally left Anakin's origins shrouded in mystery to encourage speculation and debate. Star Wars has always thrived on its mythological underpinnings, drawing inspiration from archetypal stories and religious symbolism. Anakin's birth without a father evokes parallels to messianic figures in various traditions, while his eventual transformation into Darth Vader reflects the fall of a tragic hero. By leaving the details of his creation ambiguous, Lucas allowed the audience to project their interpretations onto Anakin's story, enhancing its universal resonance. In the broader context of Star Wars storytelling, the question of Anakin's origins serves as a microcosm of the saga's exploration of power, morality, and destiny. Whether he was created by the Sith, the Force, or some combination of the two, Anakin's life is a testament to the complexity of these themes. His journey from slave to Jedi, from hero to villain, and finally to savior encapsulates the enduring appeal of Star Wars as a tale of hope and redemption. In conclusion, while the idea that Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis created Anakin Skywalker is a compelling theory supported by certain elements of Star Wars lore, it remains unconfirmed. The ambiguity surrounding Anakin's conception allows for a rich tapestry of interpretations, each contributing to the depth and complexity of his character and the saga as a whole. Whether his origins were a deliberate act of the Sith or a natural phenomenon of the Force, Anakin's story ultimately transcends its beginnings, focusing instead on the choices he made and their impact on the galaxy.